per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Oremus. Recepti salutaribus moniti et divinity.
It is important to notice what the priest does with his hands.
Pater Noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem,
sed libera nos a malo.
Amen.
At the end of the Pater Noster, the celebrant says silently, Amen. He places his left hand on the altar, and with his right wipes the paten with the purificator. He takes the paten between the index and middle finger of his right hand, and with his left hand still on the corporal, he says,
Libera nos quesumus Domine ab omnibus malis praeteritis presentibus et futuris, et intercedente beatate gloriosa Sancte Virgine Dei Genetrice Maria, cum beatis apostolis tuis Petro et Paulo et qui Andrea et omnibus sanctis.
He signs himself with the paten and kisses it while saying,
Da propitius pacem in diebus nostris.
He slips the paten under the host,
Ut ope misericordiae tue adiuti,
uncovers the chalice,
et a peccatosimus amper liberi,
he genuflects.
et ab omni perturbationis securi.
He takes the host between the thumb and index finger of his right hand, brings it with both hands over the mouth of the chalice, and breaks it reverently, saying,
Per iudem Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum.
He replaces the right hand half of the host on the paten. With the thumb and index finger of his right hand, he breaks off a fragment. As he continues to hold this fragment over the chalice with his right hand, he uses his left to place the left half of the host on the paten. Placing his left hand on the node of the chalice, and still holding the fragment of the host over the chalice,
Per omnia saecula saeculorum.
he then makes 3 crosses with the sacred particle over the chalice from rim to rim, saying,
Pax Domini, sit semper vobiscum,
Et cum spiritu tuo.
et commixio consecratio.
The celebrant lets the particle fall into the chalice. He rubs his forefingers and thumbs over the chalice and covers it. Let us have another look at this.
Libera nos quesumus Domine ab omnibus malis praeteritis presentibus et futuris, et intercedente beatate gloriosa Sancte Virgine Dei Genetrice Maria, cum beatis apostolis tuis Petro et Paulo, ad qui Andrea et omnibus sanctis, da propitius pacem in diebus nostris, ut ope misericordiae tue adiuti, et a peccatosimus semper liberi, et ab omni perturbationis securi. Per iudem Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Pax Domini sit semper vobiscum,
Et cum spiritu tuo.
et commixio consecratio corporis et sanguinis Domini nostri Iesu Christi, fiat ascipientibus nobis in vitam aeternam. Amen. Agnus Dei qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei qui tollis peccata mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei qui tollis peccata mundi, dona nobis pacem. Domine Iesu Christi, quid existi apostolis.
The celebrant, having placed his joined hands on the altar and being bowed down, fixes his eyes on the sacred host.
Et quod donare dineris qui vivis et regnas Deus per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Domine Iesu Christe, Filii Dei vivi, qui ex voluntate Patris cooperante Spiritus Sancto per mortem tuam mundum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinem tuum, ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis et universis malis, et fac me tuis semper inerere mandatis, et atenum quam separare permittas, qui cum eodem Deo Patre et Spiritus Sancto vivis et regnas Deus in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Perceptio corporis tui, Domine Iesu Christe, quod ego indenius sumere presumo non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tua pietate prosit mica tutamentum mentis et corporis et ad medelam percipientem, qui vivis et regnas cum Deo Patre in unitate Spiritus.
Before receiving Holy Communion, he genuflects, redresses himself, and says,
Panem celestem accipiem et nomen Domini invocabo.
He holds the host between the thumb and index finger of his left hand. Then he slips the paten under the host and holds the paten with the 3 remaining fingers being bowed down. He strikes his breast 3 times, saying,
Domini non sum dignus ut in tres subtectum meum, setantum di verbo et sanabitur anima mea. Domini non sum dignus ut in tres subtectum meum, setantum di verbo et sanabitur anima mea.
He places the right hand half of the sacred host over the left, and takes them both in his right hand. He makes the sign of the cross with them. Then, keeping his forearms on the altar and being bowed down, the celebrant reverently receives the sacred host. He puts the paten on the corporal, joins his hands, redresses himself, remains for a little while in meditation of the Most Holy Sacrament.
Panem celestem accipiem et nomen Domini invocabo.
Let us have another look at this.
Domini non sum dignus ut in tres subtectum meum, setantum di verbo et sanabitur anima mea. Domini non sum dignus ut in tres subtectum meum, setantum di verbo et sanabitur anima mea. Domini non sum dignus ut in tres subtectum meum, setantum di verbo et sanabitur anima mea. Corpus Domini nostri Iesu Christi, custodiat anima meam in vitam aeternam. Amen.
The celebrant uncovers the chalice and genuflects.
Qui retribuam Domino promnibus, qui retribuit mihi.
He then takes the paten and gathers up whatever particles of the sacred host may remain on the corporal. He carefully purifies the paten with the thumb and index finger of his right hand over the chalice, rubbing his thumb and finger together over the chalice too. Still holding the paten in his left hand, the celebrant takes the chalice with his right.
Calicem salutaris accipiem et nomen Domini invocabo. Laudans invocabo Dominum et abilimicis meis salvus ero.
He signs himself with the chalice, saying,
Sanguis Domini nostri Iesu Christi, custodiat anima meam in vitam aeternam. Amen.
Holding the paten under his chin, he reverently receives the precious blood and the particle of the sacred host which is in it. He replaces both the paten and the chalice on the corporal, and then covers the